but over the past 18 months, I've lost 30 pounds. And even though you may be thinking, how does losing weight relate to personal finance? There's actually a pretty significant overlap between the two. Hey everyone, it's Jonathan here. So let's discuss the 6 lessons I learned while losing weight that relates to personal finance. I will say that I'm not an expert when it comes to losing weight, but I just wanted to share my experience and some of the similarities I saw when it comes to losing weight that relates to personal finance as well. So the first similarity is that diet is far more important than exercise. Pretty much the best way to explain this is to go through my situation. So in the first 6 months of me trying to lose weight, I actually ended up gaining weight. And this is pretty typical for a lot of beginners. Generally speaking, usually you put on more muscle, which actually causes you to gain weight, not lose it. But once those 6 months were over, the next 3 months, my weight ended up plateauing. And this was mostly due to the fact that I was just kind of eating whatever I felt like, even though I was exercising consistently. I didn't really put too much emphasis to either carbs or macros or anything like that. What I ended up realizing was that I actually needed to start watching what I eat as well as how I'm exercising as well. Because basically what I learned is that really exercise, it does help a lot when it comes to weight loss. But unless if your diet is on that same trend as well, like you're eating healthier and you're watching how much of the macros you're eating, things like that, it really will affect, especially if you're insulin sensitive or anything like that, it really will affect the rate you're able to lose weight. Now, to put this in a personal finance perspective, learning how to save money is more important than learning how to earn more money. And I will say that this is the case for most people. If you're someone making $20,000 a year, then maybe you might actually benefit a lot more from learning how to make more money. But if you're making your typical American salary, you're probably better off really focusing on spending your money wisely. I mean, we all know somebody who has a very high income, but they never have the ability to save, and it seems like they're always living paycheck to paycheck. But another lesson that I learned was that consistency is key. Like most things that we do in life, typically the beginning is very attractive. It's very sexy. So figuring out your gym routine and trying new workouts and being active is very fun. But the thing is that the real returns that we get in our efforts really come from the consistent effort. So in terms of working out, going to the gym every day, giving your best effort on every single workout that you do at the gym, the compounding effect of those activities really is what drives your progress, not necessarily just what you do in the beginning. And this is very similar to wealth building. You know, the first time you opened up a stock account and you bought your first stock was probably the most fun you've had in your personal finance careers. But then once after a while, you keep buying stocks and you keep adding money to your stock account, it kind of gets a little bit, I guess you could say, dull. But the thing is that you consistently doing that for years, if not decades, is what really builds your wealth, not just you doing it for that one instance. So another thing that I learned from working out that I think has a massive crossover to personal finance is that you shouldn't beat your meat. I meant to say that you shouldn't beat yourself up if you fail. By you working out or by you starting to save more money and starting to budget, you're making a lifestyle change. This isn't a temporary state of being, if you want to be successful in either of those, you have to make it a lifestyle change. You can't make it just a temporary one-off change because, yeah, you could go down a health kick for 6 months, but then if you go back to your old ways, then all of the progress that you made is now going to revert back. When it comes to a change of that magnitude in your life, you have to be very forgiving to yourself about any failures you have on the way. So really, you want to make changes that are sustainable. And by making changes that are sustainable, I mean things let's say you want to lose weight. Your goal shouldn't be to try to lose 5 pounds every week, because you'll just eventually burn yourself out and you'll just give up on your goal. But if you say, hey, I'm going to try to lose a pound a week, that's a little bit more reasonable. And you're more likely to stick with something like that because you won't be trying to restrict how you eat and trying to do multiple workouts in a day and those crazy kind of things. And part of a plan being sustainable is really the fact that you have to realize that you will have some periods of times where you may have to retool and slow down and maybe adjust what you're doing. So to relate this back to personal finance, for example, let's say you set a financial goal that you only want to eat out once a week to save some money. But let's say you have a crazy week and you end up going out 3 times that week to go get food. So the focus shouldn't be the fact that you failed the goal, but you should acknowledge why you failed and what you could do to reduce the chances of you failing again. So for example, let's just say you're super busy and that's why you eat out so much. Maybe consider meal prepping so you don't have to eat out as much and that all you have to do is just warm up your food and eat it. That leads me into the next lesson that I learned, which was to make routines and plans. So personally, I feel like I'm pretty good at this, but there's a lot of people who go to the gym without a workout plan. Usually they end up giving really poor efforts at their workouts because they don't go in there with a plan. They just kind of walk in and then kind of sit on a machine and not really do anything, and they end up just leaving. And, if you give poor efforts, you're probably going to end up getting a poor result, which makes it even harder to stay consistent, because if you're not seeing any results, then it's like, why am I even doing this in the first place? It's always best to have some kind of plan. And there's a lot of creators on YouTube that talk about workout plans and that even give you free workout plans, depending on if you want to lose weight, gain muscle, whatever it is. So I won't even go down that rabbit hole. I'll just encourage you to watch those videos. But I think that it's always good to have some kind of plan in place, because it helps you stay focused. It helps you stay efficient with your time. It also helps you really focus on what you're working out and kind of be able to explain to yourself why are you working out these specific things. As well as a plan, another good thing to have is routines as well. I found routines are a very easy way to stay consistent in whatever you're doing. So let's just say, for example, your routine is that maybe every morning you wake up and you go to the gym. Well, you should keep that routine of you waking up in the morning and going to the gym, even on like the weekends as well, if you do plan to work out on the weekends, because that will help you stay more consistent with achieving your overall goal. Not only that, but then it'll also be very easy for your body to be ready for the gym, because it'll know, oh, we just woke up, okay, it's time to now go work out. And this transfers very easily to personal finance, because if you make a good plan, in personal finance, a plan is pretty much a budget. It makes it very easy for you to determine what you're going to do with your money if you get excess income. So let's just say, for example, you get a tax refund or you get a bonus check or something like that. You know exactly what to do with that money. It's not like just a big old question mark. Because generally speaking, when dollars have question marks in your account, they usually end up getting spent on something that you don't really need. And then when it comes to routines, basically routine is like, oh, I have this automatic savings where every time I get paid, 10% of my paycheck goes to my retirement account or something like that. That would be like a routine, which pretty much falls in line with budget as well. I think that also plays right into the next thing we're going to talk about, which is you can't improve what you don't track. So if you don't track your metrics over time, it's very difficult to determine how well you're improving. So in the case of losing weight, if you don't track your weight, obviously, or your caloric intake, or your strength improvements, it'll be very difficult for you to really see, oh, where are you making progress? Where are you not making progress? Are you plateauing? And so on, which would obviously hinder your progress if you don't know these things. I think you have to be a little bit careful with this one, because if you over track and you are too dependent on these metrics, they could really make you start to doubt why you're doing what you're doing. So it's probably good to minimize how much you are tracking these things. Maybe if you're going to track your weight, you track it a couple times a week. If you're going to track your calories, maybe you just track them and you don't actually say, oh, I'm trying to get under these many calories. You just start off by saying, okay, I'm at this, it added up to 5,000 calories, blah, blah, blah. Just for example. And then this could easily transfer over to personal finance when we're talking about you having a budget or like a savings goal or a savings plan or something like that, and being able to track the progress on that. Because if you have something like, let's just say, for example, Mint, which allows you to track how much you're spending on different categories and things like that, you can easily see like kind of where the pain points are, and you now have the knowledge to be able to improve your results. So pretty much the whole point of you tracking in either situation is really just more of knowledge, and not necessarily so much of being able to limit yourself, but just to know kind of where your strong points are, where your weak points are, and what you need to fix overall. Another thing that I learned is that you really have to focus on why you're doing what you're doing. And that's it's pretty much the same whether you're working out or you're trying to build wealth, is that you have to ask yourself, why did you make this life change? And when things get hard, or when you feel like giving up, like you feel like, oh, I just want to go buy that brand new Mercedes or whatever, you have to really think about, okay, why am I trying to build wealth? Oh, I'm trying to build wealth because I don't like my job and I want to get out of here. Or I don't want to be controlled by somebody like my boss. Or like if you're losing weight, oh, I want to lose weight because I want to look good without a shirt off. Even if it's something superficial like that, it's still important to you, and you should still focus on that when the times do get hard. So these are the biggest lessons that I did learn from working out and losing 30 pounds in the past 18 months. And I'd like to thank you guys so much for watching. If you're interested in videos about personal finance, investing in stocks, or real estate, I encourage you to subscribe to the channel. Also, as always, please like the video and share it with a friend if you think they'll get value from it. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.